The views, information, and opinions expressed during the following program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the views of Access Communications, its representatives, or its employees.
Welcome to Planting Seeds, Philanthropy in Saskatchewan, a show where we connect you to the donors and charities making an impact across the prairies. I'm your host, Victor Roman Morrow from the South Sask Community Foundation. I hope you enjoy the show. Thanks for joining us today. I'm lucky to be joined here in person with Andrew Schmidt and Sandi Marshall. They're coming here from the First Steps Wellness Center, which is, well, I won't give the full description, but they work with people dealing with, physical rehab and physical disabilities across Saskatchewan, but also beyond. And I was lucky to actually meet Andrew, what was it, probably about 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and when I visited the center, it was just an incredible place, and I knew we needed to have an episode on the show about it because I don't know how many people in Saskatchewan really know about what you guys do. So I just want to say thanks for coming on, and maybe I'll let you guys do maybe a more robust introduction of who each of you are and then what the center does. So maybe I'll start with you, Sandi.
Sure. I'm Sandi Marshall. I'm Director of Operations at First Steps Wellness Center. I guess a little bit of background. I grew up in the mountains of BC. Always loved to play sports and really wanted to get into this kind of stuff my whole life. And then growing up with my dad and some relatives with a disability, it really kind of honed in on where I wanted to be. Moved out to Saskatchewan about 20 years ago and got the opportunity once I finished university to start working at First Steps, first as an exercise therapist, and then kind of slowly maneuvering the role through into management and operations roles.
That's great. And how about you, Andrew?
Yeah, I thought I was going to work in professional hockey. And after spending a year in the WHL, I was not it. And saw this job posting for an exercise therapist at Canada's first spinal cord injury recovery center, and I was like, what is this? So I applied, and the rest is history. I remember going to the interview, and our two founders, Chris and Owen, were working with Chris's legs, even though he was a quadriplegic. And I had never been taught that in school. I did a kinesiology degree as well. And so I just had a lot of questions. Why are you doing that? What? His legs don't work. Does he have feeling? Like, what's going on? And, just over time, I just fell in love with it because, you see somebody with a disability and instead of like accepting what they have and being like, okay, well, we'll just leave you to that and work on everything else. The ethos of the facility was, we're going to work with what's injured to try to make it better. And it was really uncommon. Definitely 15 years ago, a lot more commonplace now. And similar to Sandi, within a year of me working there, my parents were in a motorcycle accident, left my mom with a permanent brain injury. And I'm like, well, it's a little bit more than a job right now. It's also my personal life. And I just, you come to love the people. We have the best clients ever. They work so hard when they come in. So it makes it really easy for us as staff.
Well, that's great. One thing I want to maybe learn a little bit more is you mentioned that you met the founders. So I'm assuming Saskatchewan, like the one located here in Regina that serves kind of Saskatchewan beyond, it's not the only center then, right? What does this look like? Like how many are there or are there more than one, I guess? And if so, like what's the relationship there? How long has this one been around?
Yeah, we opened First Steps Wellness Center Regina in 2010. And then since then we have expanded. Just the need across Canada was huge for an activity-based community rehab center. So we've opened in Sherbrooke, Quebec, and then in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So currently 3 out of, I think, the 6 main ABT centers across Canada are First Steps Wellness Center, which is really neat.
Is Regina the first one then?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
In my mind, I thought for some reason it started somewhere else and then we kind of opened up a second or third one here. That's even, I guess that's more inspiring to think of like that this started here and then expanded outwards,
Yeah,
which is
and
really
it
nice.
really started with Chris and Owen. Chris had sustained a spinal cord injury while he was away at university playing lacrosse, and when he finished his rehab, there was nowhere for him to go. So he really dug into opportunities and options, found some places in the United States, and then brought it back to Canada as the first center all across Canada.
Speaking of nowhere to go and this being somewhere to go, like, where do you see people coming from that do get served? Is it a lot of people from kind of the Regina area, or are there people that come from a lot further as well?
Well, you had said that you were at our facility 2 years ago. One of the worst parts is we don't really want people to come to our facility because usually that means there's been some traumatic injury or an accident or something. But the truth is it just happens. It's between 1 in 6 and 1 in 10 people in Saskatchewan will have a chronic neurological disability, which is a lot. And so we see not just Regina, but people travel from all over the province. We've had a number of people relocate here from other provinces, other cities in Saskatchewan. And that one's really humbling for us. It's like when a family or an individual will uproot their life and move to Regina. We actually had one just in the fall here. A family moved from another location in Saskatchewan because they wanted their child to come to our kids program. And now it's like, okay, we need to make sure what we're doing is worth it, is valuable to them. And we need to maintain that level because that's not an easy decision. But, for us as staff, it's also one of, it speaks to what our staff are doing. And so it makes it easy for us as like leadership in the facility to, poke and prod and be like, hey, what you guys are doing is drastically improving people's lives, that they would uproot everything and come here for improved access.
Yeah, and then a number of people who haven't relocated might travel from Swift Current 3 times a week or
North Battleford.
Some people out near the Yorkton area, and they don't have access to this kind of rehab in their hometown, so they come and travel so that they can gain some function back or improve their quality of life.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a very specialized field, hey. So you got to figure out where you can go for it.
We found 2 years ago, Victor, that when it was just Regina, like there was only our location. There was a facility that opened, I believe, in 2012, just outside of Toronto. But we found a lot of Alberta and Manitoba individuals would move here for a while, rent a place, stay for a bit. But as we have one in Winnipeg. There's another organization in Edmonton. We actually would direct people there because we're a nonprofit charity. It's not about us making any money. It's about what's best for you as an individual. And it actually is staying in your local support group, having family and friends around a place that you're comfortable with. Because it can be a challenge. You move here, you don't know anybody aside from the others that come to First Steps. And so we've actually, that's created kind of our family atmosphere, but it can be, it can be tough if your family's in another location or your friends are in another location. So
it's, you just mentioned there too, and I think the viewers probably know by this point that when you're sitting here, you're going to be a nonprofit and a charitable organization, right? But that's an important note with this because when you think of physiotherapy, like when I've gone to a physiotherapist, like I'm not going to a charitable organization. So what does that model look like for the work that you do? What does funding look like? How do you guys, how are you sustainable, I guess, from that lens?
Yeah. Well, we're a fee for service based, so we do charge a fee. We don't receive any government funding. And then a lot of it's with grants and donations. So that's kind of Andy's wheelhouse, is he's more in the community portion.
Yeah, so any equipment that we need, some very expensive specialized equipment, one of the best parts of being a nonprofit charity is you do qualify for a wide range of grants or various scholarships or whatnot. And so, I mean, we've probably received between $500,000 and $750,000 of various equipment upgrades and purchasing. Like we have one specific electronical cycle that hooks up the muscles to fire the muscles in a cyclical pattern, and that thing is $90,000.
Oh wow!
And that's one piece of equipment, and so we could never buy that on our own, but we have had grants come alongside and purchase that, and then we just make it available to our people because it's beneficial for them, but they won't be able to buy that.
Do you Do you find it challenging? Like, is it it's always challenging raising funds. So I'm not going to say is it challenging to get funding, but to tell that story, do you find it is it easy to get people to resonate with understanding the need, or do you ever have challenges around that?
Well, as soon as you've had it happen to you, or a person next to you, or whatnot, and that's a bit easier. But yeah, I mean, the brutal part about fundraising is there's limited fundraising dollars. As I'm actually sure I've heard this from the South Saskatchewan Community Foundation. It's like there's a certain pool of funding available, and there's a lot of great places that need it.
Yeah.
And so, in a way, it's almost like you're competing, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
We've chosen a non-government model to employ. We employ only kinesiologists right now.
Yeah.
We have a great relationship with the University of Regina, where students come right away, out of university. They get to work at our facility for a period of time. But the fundraising, it can be challenging, but I mean, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
And if Chris and Owen didn't do what they did right at the start, there'd be no facility here. There'd be no facility in Winnipeg or in Quebec. So just because it's hard doesn't mean you shouldn't do it.
No, absolutely. And even just to talk a little bit more about that competition, because it's true, like funding, and there's a lot of, our one research report that we do, our vital signs research shows us too, like the need for charitable funding is going up at a much higher rate than the funding that's available. And that's across the country. That's likely beyond Canada as well, right? So when you're looking at that, it is becoming more and more competitive. And we see it too when people apply for grants. The funders always have the tough challenge of just looking at, okay, we have X amount of dollars, but the requests like balloon that. And everybody is rewarding. Like there's no scenario where they don't really want to fund everybody. It's just trying to figure out how you do. So, but the one thing that I'll note with you guys specifically, because it is such a specialized service and it really is a one of a kind.
Yeah.
We do this event called a fundraiser, and the first year we did it, in the second year there's about 100. I think there's about 70 charities the first year. But I remember standing in the room and like going through and looking at all the signs. And like you've got everything. Like you've got people dealing with the environment. You've got people making sure kids have a safe place to go. You've got people making sure people are fed, people are housed, people have the arts in your community and have things to enjoy, things to aspire to, things like your organization where it's like making sure people with physical disabilities and needs are met. People, other organizations working with specifically intellectual disabilities, things like that. And like when you look at that, there was like not a single one of those things that if you were to pluck it out, you could just say, okay, we didn't need it. Like everything is needed, everything is connected, and everything helps that community well-being, right? So even though funds are competitive, I think from our standpoint, trying to find ways to make it less competitive and trying to engage people, and that's part of the reason why we're talking right now. It's like, I want to engage the audience. I want people to think about this, like, giving back to the community in this way strengthens every aspect of your community in ways that you wouldn't realize unless it was all gone.
You know, on that note, Victor, something we've been, for all the things that COVID did for everybody, you know, for us, it actually provided a unique opportunity. We had a massage therapist that was had his own business operating out of our facility for years. And during COVID, he moved out. And we thought, well, we could just move that, turn that office into a staff office, or what could we really do with this office? That's the challenge. What would be the best use of it? And we ended up inviting Saskatchewan Wheelchair Sports and a medical supplies company. One of their staff members is a vital member of this community, and they moved in. And so now we had this case. It was probably the coolest thing. I tell this story all the time. We had a mom and a kid from out of town drive in, go to therapy. And on their way out, they had booked a meeting with Saskatchewan Wheelchair Sports, and they sized the kiddo up for a small wheelchair basketball chair. And then the mom was talking to the medical supplies staff member. And so in one trip from out of town, they got therapy, they got a sport chair sized, and they got medical equipment, like supplies. And I was like, this is it right here. This is exactly what we wanted. And since then, we've invited other organizations in town that we've gotten to know and come and use our space. You need it for like an event? Go ahead. We're hosting an event here next Friday, so the 28th, where Dr. Cameron Meng is presenting to the public on some of his research findings, and he's using our space. And it's like, please come and use our space. Like, go ahead. Or if you need a board meeting set up, and you don't have a boardroom or you don't have a physical space.
Yeah, that's good. So are there other ways beyond that you guys collaborate as well then? Like, that sounds very collaborative.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah, I mean, starting big across Canada, we were invited to be part of an ABT summit, so activity-based therapy, collaborating with Praxis Institute and some of the big names in spinal cord injury rehab and research across Canada. And it's since turned into a community of practice where we're helping with designing methods to educate clinicians on how to train people and how to find community opportunities throughout Canada and that kind of stuff, all the way down to wheelchairs at the legislature. So we've invited MPs to spend a day in a wheelchair, and we go to the legislature with them and just talk and just show them kind of a small snippet into what some of our clients might be going through in their everyday life, and why, either funding kind of what we do or helping to give backing to what our clients' needs are, and just kind of collaborating that way.
Yeah, we do in the fall here in 2025. We're with like the City of Regina, the University of Regina, the Realm Foundation, Be Astonished, hope I don't miss any of them, the Neil Squire Society, Sask Soccer, and Sask Wheelchair Sports. And as a group of organizations, we're going to be running an adapted physical activity symposium.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we've ran them before in 2016 and 2018, then 2020 COVID hit, so it got canceled. 2022, we didn't quite run it again, but anyway, we're going to do it this year. And again, that's just varying professionals getting together. We're going to have a day of like learning, a day of trying, and a day of showcasing like what our local community here in Regina and the province has to offer. Individuals who have physical disabilities, but not just physical disabilities, but then also like maybe inspire some younger kinesiology grads to be involved in that field once they graduate, right? So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nonprofit opportunities for people that go through kinesiology. I don't know if the students know that when they're entering the realm, but I hope they do when they come out of it, for multiple reasons. One is just how rewarding it can be. I can see on both of your faces as we talk, you know. One thing, again, that you mentioned serving kids a few times, and I'm kind of, I guess, two-pronged question is, what is the age range that you do serve? And is there, what do the services, like, how do they differ, I guess, when you're working with children versus like teenagers or adults or seniors?
Yeah, I think, so back in, I think it was about 2015, someone had asked, do you guys work with kids? Because lo and behold, adults aren't the only ones who fall through the cracks for community-based therapy. And so we worked really hard. We got some specialized training from Poland, actually. Opened up our kids program in 2016. And we work with anyone who's probably about 6 months old all the way up to 18 years old. They'd be kind of all encompassed into our kids program. There's just such a need for kids that they might be born with a disability or something happened in utero or in birth, and then, or all the way up until through all their childhood years. But the kids program's been really rewarding for us as well. Like just having the atmosphere, the families, we really feed off of it. The kids make amazing progress. They work so hard. And it's really neat to see. We had one little girl, I think she came into our office for right before her assessment. She was basically laying in her car seat, couldn't move any part of her body. She'd had a brain injury quite young. She was about 1 year old, about to be put into a permanent tube feed because she couldn't swallow. Fast forward to all the hard work she put in with our amazing therapist as well, and she's now running around and she's in school, and we don't really have to see her that often anymore. It's been so fun to watch that progress and watch the parents kind of catch up to where these kids are at, going from not being able to move to maybe being in their toddler stages.
Yeah.
And then, just continuing on in their development. So the kids program's been amazing for us. And in light of that, we also know that it's really hard for our families to afford to come. It's expensive to raise children. It's even more so to raise them with a disability, whether it be their medical supplies, the need of a wheelchair, a van with a lift in it, just all these things. Maybe someone can't work due to having to stay home. So we did open a children's grant program as well, about a year after we opened our program, and that runs based off of all donations to our facility, specific to the grant program, and then the families receive 50% off of their services. So that's been really neat, and allowed a lot of families to attend who otherwise couldn't afford, and it's all based off of donors across Saskatchewan. So.
And I guess, well, first off, the story of the child, like, as a parent of 2 young kids, like even just putting myself in those shoes, like that's life-changing. That's transformative. That's like, I mean, as a parent, it's creating a whole different future that you maybe wouldn't have seen, like going into your clinic and then coming out. So I think that really, really speaks to just the power of the work that you guys do. And
and the work that the families and the kiddo put in, like they arrive every day for therapy for 2 to 3 hours a day, and they've devoted their life to that. And
that is true. And I think it's worth noting too, is that like any therapy relies on the people on both end giving it their all, right? So you guys, but I guess to my credit to you guys, it's clear that you guys are giving it your all. You're doing your role within that process as well. So I want to make sure that you feel that too. So what is, like, if you're to run someone through kind of a day, because we're talking a lot about, like, we understand there's physical disabilities, we understand there's recovery, but like, what does a day look like? Well, what are some of the activities that people are doing? What are some of the machines people are using? What's some of the progress you're seeing, just to help viewers get an idea? I know what the facility looks like, and even I will kind of have some blind spots here. So.
Well, I primarily work with adults, so actually all my training is in spinal cord injuries.
Okay.
Just a little caveat, like, all of our programming, our kids programming, it all started out of need, right? So Chris and Owen started it specifically for spinal cord injuries, and that's all we worked with. And then slowly we would just get phone calls. My husband had a stroke, would you work with him? My wife just got diagnosed with MS, would you work with her? My brother has this. And we started to just notice so many individuals where once you're discharged out of the healthcare system, you're just like sent home, and then what?
Yeah.
And I saw that my mom's own life is, after a certain amount of time post her brain injury, it was just, okay, now you're at home. And there's like, she's in Swift Current. There's nothing for her in that community. But there really wasn't here either without Chris and Owen starting. And then it was one thing after another. So, hey, we had a young gal move here from another province and say, I don't really want to continue doing therapy, but I want to get involved in sport. How do I do that? And we were, we don't know, but we'll help you. And so we went and became certified through the province to offer strength training to para-sport athletes. And then that grew that. And then phone calls about kids. And actually a recent one we've partnered with Dr. Cameron Mang at the University of Regina is we offer like drop-in sessions for individuals who maybe just have a neurological condition that they don't need like full help or full support during a session. They just need some guidance. Maybe they have some foot drop or it's a wide range.
Issues.
Say like they're not in a wheelchair, or they can walk a bit on their own. And now it's like group session, so it's not quite as intense. But it's monitored. It's a little bit safer for them than just going to a gym. So it kind of looks different depending on what the individual would want. Because I think that's what we're able to do as a fee-for-service organization is somebody comes in, Victor, and it's what do you want and how can we help you get there?
Perfect.
So
I'd say a lot of our sessions, like Andy said, it's based on what the individual wants. We're going to be focusing on developmental movement patterns. So it could be anything from learning how to lift your head up to sitting, to kneeling, crawling, standing, walking, any and all the above. Really focusing on working below the level of injury. So that's the main focus of First Steps and of activity-based therapy, is focusing on rehab below and with what's affected, and then just helping our clients reach their goals. So we have some really neat pieces of equipment, body weight supported treadmill training, vibration plates, total gyms, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and we have some very expensive ones like those electrical stimulation cycles. And then we just have some mats and some tables. And it really depends on what the individual wants. Some might want to be a little bit more stable when they walk or ambulate. Some might want to be able to roll over. Like there's a massive chasm of differences. The kids are a little bit faster because they progress a lot quicker.
And lots of reflex integration, which is quite new to us, is newer to, I guess, ABT is reflex integration. And that's what we go through all as children, just naturally, but we have to kind of bring that back into therapy and help people progress. So.
That's awesome. All of this is really awesome. But before we wind down, I just want to give you an opportunity to maybe let people know how can they get involved, how can they reach you, how can they, I know there's going to be a smile cookie opportunity coming up here soon. So just want to give you a chance maybe just to wind us up with saying, how can people get involved? How can people make a difference in the lives of those who need it through you guys?
Yeah, well, honestly, donations would be amazing. At any time, we'll take anything. We have specifically this children's grant program that Sandi talked about. Actually, Access Communications Children Fund has given to us, and all of that money goes directly to families, as well as you can just generally donate as well. We do charitable receipts for that. But how can people help? I mean, the tough part is unless you have an injury or know somebody who needs the service, it's not always right in front of you. And so just making it aware to people that you know around you that could benefit from our services. And it's like, come and see it, come check it out. FirstStepsWellnessCenter.ca on the website. I'm not too great on social media stuff, but First Steps Wellness Center on social media, on Facebook and Instagram as well. And we show a lot of like what's going on and what's happening. In terms of, you'll see what we do with clients right on there, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And then this year and last year, we were chosen as the Tim Hortons Smile Cookie recipients, along with the Regina Food Bank. So that's going to be running on April 28th this year, starting and running for a week. And any cookie that's bought or anything like that, the proceeds go, I guess all the money from it goes directly to our two organizations. So a simple, delicious way to help out, and it really helps us.
We also heard they're calorie-free cookies this year, so you just go ahead.
Just eat double then in that case. Perfect. Well, thanks again for joining me today. This has been awesome, and it's really a pleasure to hear this from you.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having us.
Absolutely, thank you, Victor.
Thanks for tuning in today. If you'd like to learn more about how you can make an impact in your own community through the South Sask Community Foundation, visit us online at yourlegacyforever.ca.
If you'd like to share your feedback on the program you just watched, contact us today